Hey, family. This is Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. Hey, what's up, family? I have some people coming on my TikTok. Uh, we're gonna talk about post-traumatic stress syndrome. Oh, wrong word. Post-traumatic stress disorder. That's what we're going to talk about. And I wanted to come on a little early just to let y'all know. And now we changed our time up from 6 to 8. But I might end this at 45 minutes. Okay. So I just want y'all to know, just in case I shift it off by 5:45. I might let it go for the whole 2 minutes, but I know y'all normally don't watch it in Baltimore City the whole 2 minutes. I mean 2 hours. Okay? But I love y'all. So I was just thinking, hey family, my TikTok family, my TikTok family, my TikTok family, hey TikTok, my TikTok family, my TikTok family, my TikTok family, hey TikTok, my TikTok family, my TikTok family, my TikTok family, hey TikTok, my TikTok family, my TikTok family, my TikTok family, hey TikTok. Hey Candy, come on Candy, Candy. Request up. I don't know what happened. Request up. Candy, Don, am I up here by myself? Uh-oh. All right, let me go off and come back on. I'm going to go off and come back on. Come on, Candy. It said multi-guest off. Baltimore, 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 Baltimore. You up? Come on, Candy.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I had to go back to my back because for some reason it jumped from this over to, well, I had it on my regular. I was letting y'all see the things behind me, but it just put me in the big screen.
Yeah, that happens to me when I try to do mine. It's like it will go from one single screen and then it switches over to having a bunch of people. I don't know. I think it's like something TikTok messes with, I guess.
Right. And I think that's what they doing with the like my stuff that I put in. I can't see it. Can y'all see like I can't see like if y'all liking it or what. It's not counting it for me to let me know if people see it or not. My videos.
I have to go to your page and see it. Like I get a notification.
Right. When
and it's like a blacked out picture, and then I have to click on it to go see it.
you'll get
But it's not always.
Okay, I think it's what they doing on their end. Probably what's happening. But how y'all doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Where you at, Candy?
I am still with Chris. Chris just went to bed not too long ago. He's got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. I'm just asking because you normally drop after a while. And I hope.
No, I'm good.
Okay. I was hoping you wouldn't drop. But did y'all look up that information?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking normally on Mondays I'll do men like mental health. But I just figured we'll do mental health awareness. So rather men or women, anybody that want to come up. But I was looking at the PTSD and I wanted to get the true definition of it, right? But it was talking about the regular PTSD is due to either somebody being in a car crash or something with the war, the trauma from the war. But the C post TSD, I said, wow, come on.
My uncle had that. He had PTSD because he was in Vietnam. So he would have a lot of crazy like dreams and stuff like that. That's what my aunt would tell me.
So with complex PTSD, I looked it up. It says the brain is stuck in danger mode and it's changed how you see yourself, handle emotions, and trust people. While PTSD is like your brain is stuck in danger mode. So it's like, okay, it's like being like in a house and you think there's ghosts. Or it's like so PTSD is more like, okay, I feel like I'm in danger, but it's not changing how you see yourself. Like you still see yourself as yourself, but you're afraid like something would happen. But complex PTSD, it's more like self-blame. It's more like, oh, this is my fault. Like, oh, I hate myself. Why did this happen to me? I caused that to happen, type of thing.
And see, I'm gonna tell you what got me to family.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go grab my other phone.
Oh, okay, Candy. It talked about a post-traumatic slavery syndrome, and I had said disorder, but that's something that been passed down generation after generation from slavery. That mentality, right? Now, the complex disorder, I was reading it, but it was talking about this lady in Canada and how she was caught up in slavery, right? But it also talked about like how she was mentally, emotionally, I'm gonna say physically abused, right? And the person who did it was dominating over her. And I just wanted to get a little bit more into it. But one thing that kind of made me a little upset with reading it, they said they try not to take people back in dealing with that trauma, but they try to keep them in the here and now. And I understand that, but I'm like, you can't do that, because you got to get them to face whatever happened to them. They got to see it for what it was, And most of all, is to learn to accept whatever happened to them was not their fault. Most of all, and to help them to learn to let it go, because it's going to stick with you. But it's just that you don't want it to beat you down in the here and now. And most of all, for you to be functioning in life, because it even talked about working and all this type of stuff, like working, raising a family. But if you haven't dealt with those traumas on a personal note, to me, they're going to bring a lot of that out. They're going to bring it into their relationship. It could affect the children. It could affect the people around them. But from what I was reading about it with them in Canada, right? The goal is not to get them, to look at what happened to them, but to move them forward from there. And once I read that part, I was like, nope. I wish I could talk to y'all turkeys. But what I had to understand, all right, Candy, what I had to understand, that's the way they're taught. When if you have not experienced certain things like that in your life, then again, let me back up because some of them had. But scientifically, or professionally, because they're learning how to deal with certain behaviors, right? And this is one that's recognized. And as I was listening to it, as I was reading, I'm sorry. As I was reading it, I was like, no, you gotta get them. And I'm just looking at my 12-step journey. You gotta get them, like you said too, I just thought about it, to start having faith and trust back in themselves. Just what you said. I was looking at that too. It just popped in. But I was looking at, most of them that I deal with, people that's dealing with, I'm gonna say childhood abuse, because it said child abuse, it said physical trauma, violence, and all of that from what I was reading on the Canada one, right? But what I realized, people deal with certain things a lot different. But yeah, you gotta teach them, because they done lost all faith and trust in themselves. And like you said, they blame themselves for everything, like they deserved it. It was what it was. But that's not true. That's not true. So they have to let it go and learn to hold on to, most of all, I was powerless over what was done to me. Because some of them feel like I could have ran here, I could have did that, I could have. But the coulda, shoulda, woulda is some things. I don't talk like that when I'm dealing with somebody one-on-one. But the shoulda, coulda, woulda is something that you have to let go of, at least not tell yourself, I shoulda this, I shoulda that, or I could have done this. And it's so much they will say, but it messes them up because it lowers your self-esteem and everything. You was talking about all of that. And I'm like, wow, the whole process. And God knows I wish I could sit down and talk with some of them. I'm talking about the counselors and therapists and stuff like that. Because I understand you coming in with techniques because you're trying to balance the brain back out. I understand that part. I got that wholeheartedly. But if you don't teach people how to be honest with themselves again, and they gotta feel it inside you, like you were saying, they gotta feel it about being honest with themselves. They gotta feel it about having faith back in themselves. They gotta feel it more like having trust in themselves. But they got to look at that bull crap and accept it. For whatever negativity or destruction happened to them in their lives, it was not my fault. Give it back to the individual that did these things to you, because you don't want to carry it. And I was looking at the process of the work that they would have to take in the journey. But when I read that part where it's like they don't want them to face whatever because they was in it, it's like the whole thing is more like turning their back and keep moving, which I got that. I got it. But I'm like, it's work. It's still inside work that need to be done. And they talked about timing as well. It's something that's not going to change like overnight. We already know.
Right.
So I go.
And
Come on.
the wounds could reopen. Like,
yep.
Let's say you thought you were over your childhood trauma, and then you go to in the workplace, and it seems like the patterns are being repeated again. it could also be like a survival guide in a way, like you know how you're reacting, and so you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this, that, I'll do this, I'll speak out more, but you can still feel like it was your fault though, you know, unfortunately. But I think, you know, you could think about it like, I've been through this before, like, yeah, this is a little different, but I already know how the game is.
And it's like, and one of the reasons too, Candy, I wanted you to come over because I know you do your grieving page, so you're really down with people that's, I'm gonna say, dealing with grief, and a lot of that a lot of what we're talking about actually is a grieving process for a lot of people. You know, it's a
Yes.
healing process, and I definitely. What's up, Cooper? I definitely you know wanted y'all to, well, you to come over to Candy, and most of all Hugh, because I love the way Hugh feed people back as well. You know, I sent Dawn a message to come over. I sent a few of them a message, but once they see me up, if they can make it, they'll make it. But if not, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk anyway. You know what I mean? And anybody that wants to come up, we here to support them. And I can't move away, y'all, from the way I was taught when it comes to dealing with people. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's not a job for me. It's like my feelings is involved in a lot of this because I care for the people and I want people to heal. It's not that I get paid to feed you psychiatric bull crap. You get me, and I don't want to knock what they doing too because they get paid. I don't want them to be like, oh,
balance it out though. You balance it out.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
Get like a doctor's office
woo,
perspective.
woo,
That's good.
woo. Because I feel like y'all come over here, y'all need to talk. Look, you got a bad crew over here. We gonna look. We gonna work with you, but you got to do the work. And what we don't get done within it, which I know it's not something that's gonna happen overnight. We already know. So if a person come up and they talking about certain things, you know, we're listening, and however God laid on y'all spirit, and most of all, from the information that you have inside, because y'all had some awesome information to me, when it comes to us doing what we're doing. And that's what I love about this, you know. And I'm looking for Third to come in. I'm looking for them to come in because we agreed to the time frame. Um, Even though we said Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays at 6, I might end up popping on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but it might not be this late. I don't know. All depends on where I'm at and how I feel. Because I feel like God got some awesome plans. He do. He do, because I'm telling you, I've been I've been taking my magnesium stuff and I'm sleeping at night. I'm up at 5 in the morning. I said, what time is it? 5 again. I like that. I said, God is shifting some stuff. He's shifting some stuff, right? Well, I know some amazing things is coming up. I already know that. But it's like he's doing something. I don't know what it is, how it is, but he's doing something, and I know, and I'm talking about still with the business and all of this. It's just something bigger he's putting together for us. So and know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So Candy, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, hanging in there. I can't. Oh my goodness, dealing with all this snow and stuff. Ugh, I cannot stand the winter. I am not a winter person.
Look, I'm all right. I said I was gonna take a walk today, but I might just do it tomorrow because it should be dried up a little bit more than. So I mean, the snow wise, but you ain't kidding. I was listening to them over there plowing, because I live right here near Morgan. So I'm like, what's that noise? I'm like, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, we didn't get the snow
that we thought we would, but we did get ice and also some the wind is tearing our behind up.
Oh yeah. She said the wind is tearing us up. Wait a minute. Keep talking.
Well,
No,
I
I was
was
just-
gonna say. Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, with CPTSD, like it's not the individual's fault. Like if it's like the same type of trauma or it's like a repeating pattern, because it's like, there's social rules and things like that. Like let's say they were assaulted as a kid, and then it happens like at a party or at like the workplace. It's not like they have a sign saying "Do this to me," right?
Right.
But it may be social patterns in the society as a whole that leads this to keep happening to them. Which can further CPT SD.
Yeah, cause the did y'all read up on it? Well, Dawn.
I agree. Because of the fact that there's been so many people who have been using certain terms so freely, but the thing is that it seems like after the C-19 issue, we're hearing it so much more right now, and it's really terrible because you have people who have been through, these situations far before C-19 and are still dealing with them, but they were unable to get the proper, care and or whatever you want to call it. I guess you just call it care. I'm sorry.
Like medical community support, family
support, care, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And it's terrible that people, and even with we're dealing with the poverty issues and stuff like that. That as well is really terrible too, because before C-19, people were having issues with not being able to work and all these different things. So I mean, I just noticed that it seemed like there was such a harder, placement on people who are impoverished, unfortunately, and and mostly like glorifying, the people that were the haves and the have-nots being crushed under the weight of, okay, well, you're this way because of this and that, you know what I mean? And that's not always the truth, you know what I mean? So, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was a lot of people during the pandemic who were like rich and were going out and stuff, but then they would come in public and be like, guys, don't go out. So they're hypocritical. And like a lot of people suffered. Like me, I was always a homebody. It didn't really bother me none. Even my relationship made it through that. And being in school and everything like that. So, but I know that's not everybody else, right? Like, a lot of people do need like that social comfort. And especially if they have PTSD or CPTSD, it's like, it can be like torture, especially if they live with their abusers or they're around them.
Right. And that's how a lot of it happens, right? Mainly if you can't, and I was looking at the C-19, if you can't really move about a lot. And what I'm thinking now, when you're in the house with a bunch of sick people, sick individuals,
yeah,
it tends
that's
to
a
happen.
good way to put it.
It tends to happen, But during that C-19, I'm gonna tell you, when I went to go get my medication, I went to Walmart, and it looked like a desert town. I was like, "What in the world?" But when that thing happened, it was like the spirit hit me and said, "Stay in the house."
Oh yeah.
And I did. And my cousin, what did my cousin say? My cousin sent me something. It was scripture wise how the famine came through, and God had marked the houses that it wouldn't affect the people, and that's basically what he threw at me. Stay in the house till I tell you you can go back out. And I did. I wasn't out there like most people.
Right. Me neither.
But
Me either.
yeah, and when I look back at it now, I thank God I did get the shot though. I did get it. I would talk with my doctor, and he suggested that I get it. Told me he had got the COVID, but he had suggested to me, and I got it. And be honest with y'all, I don't know about nobody else, but I felt legit. I felt like, you know, when I got this shot, you couldn't tell me nothing. I felt, you know, I was gonna say too legit to quit, but when I got this shot, I just felt good about it. I don't know why, but and I didn't get sick from it at all. You know, either way, um, a lot of people went through stuff. I didn't even know my nieces and them had got sick, her and her family, until she came there in the house and told me back then. I was like, whoa, yup. But they all right though. They made it all right. But this is stuff, and it talks about the stress of life in general. You know, this is the stuff that a lot of people's dealing with. And I'm glad I read more up on it because one of my clients in the house, he was diagnosed, he said, with PTSD, right? Now, during that time, I didn't actually know what it was, but he had other issues too. He had other issues where I had to sign him away. But reading up on it, the C, post traumatic stress. I'm trying to make sure I don't say slavery. Post traumatic stress disorder. From what I understand, he dealt with him and his family dealt with that a lot. Him and his sister, them. And you know, some of them grew up like that, where they lived in abusive situations, and that's what I believe. When they diagnosed him, they diagnosed him with the C, right? Compared to the one with the accident or the war, because they was talking about how they just labeled it another way now, complex, and then they went on to explain it, which is basically psychological issues, traumas.
Yeah. Right.
When I'm
It's
reading something,
interesting.
family.
It's interesting because of the fact that, you know, you never think that there are so many different, you know, dynamics that are taking place until you have to be involved with that situation. You know, I believe that when, you know, the whole situation was talking about, we were talking about Pastor Copeland, we were talking about how that, you know, the story, that Bible story came up when the C-19 hit, and that's the same. I think that if we compare notes, if a lot of us compare notes, everybody had the same kind of situation that happened. And the interesting thing about the medications or whatever from the jabber, um, everybody, and it was said, and see, that was the thing that I believe and I thank the Lord about, because when they were talking about, and they were having all of these news press releases and stuff like that, a lot of things were, you know, fear-based. However, they were speaking a lot of truth about some things, and you had to really, really listen and open up your ears to find out, you know, kind of like chew up the meat, spit out the bones type thing, because if you didn't listen closely, you weren't going to hear the fact that they were saying that if you have pre-existing conditions, you probably shouldn't get the jab. You know what I mean? So, you know, there were a whole lot of people who were so, and this is the way fear creeps up on people. I had an issue with fear. And it causes you to do a whole lot of things that you won't even think about before you even do them. Because you're trying to get away from that feeling of, being out of control or not having, any support or whatever. You just want it to be over with. But at the same time, if you're not listening and if you're not looking, if you don't calm yourself down, figure a way to calm yourself down, you're going to be doing a whole lot of things that you didn't even think you would be doing.
Right.
So, having that time to really, take inventory, calm ourselves down, and not listen to the news, because they also said that. They were like, you might want to not listen to the news because there's a whole bunch of, fear-based.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the pandemic, it might have been, I don't know if we can't say that word, but it might have been a point of fear for a lot of people who have had PTSD or CPTSD. Just the way it was handled, the way, like, the fear-mongering, I mean, you thought the world was going to end. That's how bad it was. Like, I didn't even go outside like that. I just stayed inside all the time. And that damaged a lot of, like, social cues for me to pick up and things of that nature. So I can't imagine for somebody who has those diagnoses, like, man, it must have been so tough, because how can you get help? Like, maybe online. I know they had online medical care and maybe join online groups, but that's not necessarily the same as, like, having physical friends and physically going to see them.
And see, I was I was getting ready to say, I was all right with that. I was all right with that. Not traveling, but so far, man, it was something else that I read in there, right? And it talked about basically people like myself, where you where you don't, hey Tish, where you don't socialize a lot no more. And it started talking about some things, right? And I had to catch myself because I was about to say, "You're a damn lie. I'm older now, and I ain't trying to be bothered." But it was talking about how people shut down. They don't care to socialize as much as they used to, and that was part of the disorder itself, right? And I'm reading it, and I'm like, "Well, that's kind of sound like me." But I'm at a point where you feel comfortable by yourself, at peace. And I always been like that. Even if I had to go out, I will go, take care of what I got to do, and I'm back home. And that's all it been. If I had to do a protest, do a rally, whatever, I wouldn't hang around for the after party or none of that.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Isn't that more like a protective measure?
Part of that, that too.
Because if you feel like there's a lot of social patterns that keep happening to you, you may be able to spot, like, people like that more and stay away from them. That doesn't necessarily mean, like, oh, you hate everybody, you hate people. But it's like, hey, I feel like this is about to repeat again. And you could be wrong, but I'd rather be wrong than, wronged. Right? I'd rather be wrong than wronged. So, I mean, I think it depends. And you have to use a lot of discernment, and people have to grow that skill. That's not just inherited, really. You have to build on it, at least, if it is inherited.
And see, I like that one because when I first got clean, and I was thinking about, like, in the streets, you always had to watch your back. You always had to watch your back, right? And when I first got clean, we had to get rid of those thoughts, about watching your back, somebody about to get you, things like that, because that's how I grew up. I grew up with the pew pew from a young age, and realizing, talking about this too, that's a form of protecting myself, because the goal was to hurt you before you hurt me, and I was just looking at it. I was just reading across it and looking at it and understanding that now, when I first hear loud noise or something like that, I ain't the first to run like a lot of people might run and say, "Oh, what was that?" It's like I glance real quick, but you don't live in fear like that, but now that much anymore. And that takes work. That really takes work. And it talked about that too. Talked about like trusting. And then you can go back to the relationship part. It's because they named it complex. It's just so much that people dealing with, even with the relationships. If you had a lot of failed relationships, you get to that point you don't trust no women no more, or women coming too close to you, vice versa. Which I get that, and I'm like, wow. But I know, and I can say this because I had to look for me, where I had to look at myself, and I'm like, my picker is off, way off. And somebody told me, they said, no, what you tend to do, Steve, you will see the bull crap in people, but you'll look past that to see the good side. And I was like, wow, because we try to give people chance after chance after chance. And now that I'm a little bit older, it's like I'm not playing them games.
Yeah, I used to do that too and try to save them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm just at that point in my life now where I'm here for you, but you gotta be for yourself. Cause I'm telling y'all, remember when I said a little bit earlier towards the therapists, the counselors, and all that type of stuff, they're trained to know how to identify certain behaviors and deal with you in that sense, which I got that part. And by me being in recovery and the way I deal with people, which I'm considered as a life coach as well, but the way I deal with people is more personal, and my heart is more into it compared to those who've been taught. But still, I understand some of them have experienced this stuff too, but they try not to allow that to get in the way of their work. And I had to look at it too, Miss. I had to look at it because I'm like, that one thing I was telling them, I didn't like reading what I read about the lady in Canada. They was talking about how they don't want them to focus on the past. We don't want you to focus on the past, but the thing is, we want you to accept whatever happened in the past. You got to let it go. You got to understand that that wasn't your fault. Because what it was saying is not to let them live in their past or remind them of the past. So it's to take them from here and just move them forward. And I was like, you can't do it like that.
Yeah, you need
Right.
reflection.
Yeah.
Where's the reflection stage?
Yeah. Because most people, like the people I sponsor, I have 33 years today. They got like 32 on down. Most of them don't come to NA meetings no more. They done got into the churches, businesses, and all of that. They done put their lives together, right? So what I'm trying to get to is whenever they feel like, or they going through certain things, I need to call my sponsor. I need to call Steve. Talk with Steve. Same way with me. If I'm going through certain things, I call them and say, hey, look, I need you listen to this, listen to that. But for the most part, I try to help men understand too that it's okay, to go through changes. And I was getting ready to say to cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to say you hurt. And it even talked a little bit about that because I was looking at the recovery process or the healing process. And it was talking about gaining more control over your feelings and emotions. My thing is let them express their feelings and emotions, but not in a dangerous way. Let them get it out the best way they can. Some people, if they don't release that pressure, they will end up doing something destructive. 9 times out of 10. If it's no more than breaking a window, busting up this, tearing that apart, physically hurting somebody, and next thing you know, they end up behind bars. So my thing is the best way to do it is let them get it off from the best way they can. They gotta yell, they gotta scream, they gotta holler, they gotta cry. Let them. I mean, that's how I feel. Cause God darn it, if I'm hurting, just let me go. Look, I cry like a little girl. I'm telling you, be like, hey, wait a minute, where that child at? Oh, that's Steve. That's Steve over there screaming like that. Yeah, that's right. Now ask me how I feel after I'm finished. That's what I say. Ask them how they feel when they get it out. Once you get that mess out, it's like, ooh, thank you. Oh, man, I hope don't nobody start judging me. Yeah, I was always screaming, but I feel better now.
Yeah.
See how I can
That's
laugh.
right.
See how I can laugh and stuff.
Yeah.
Prayer.
It's awesome to have a safe space to be able to do that kind of thing, because there's so much going on right now where people don't have that opportunity. And when you were talking about the fear, you know, we were talking about that earlier in another panel I was on. They were talking about that, you know, stress and fear were used in that time. C-19 and the stress and the fear were worse than the actual situation, you know. And it was interesting how when we were going through that whole situation, how that, you know, God got the glory. Even though there were tragedies and even though there were casualties, God still got the glory out of what was going on, you know what I mean? But I also wanted to say, when you were talking about not looking back, and there was a saying that there's a reason why there is a smaller rear view mirror in a car, and there's a large one. They said because they don't want you looking back as much. So.
No, I just like the scenario, the way you used it.
Yeah.
And the point to me, and I'm just saying this because I'm looking back at when I did my full step. And even though these people, the ones that they're talking about, just coming out of it basically, right? From what I was reading about the lady in Canada. So they just coming out of it. But the people that then dealt with it and try to just bury it, you know, without, you know, therapy and stuff like that. And that's the hardest part. And even for somebody that's just coming up out of it as an adult, I already know it's not going to be that easy to just jump back into society. I know it. And every time I talk about stuff like this, family, not just looking at, excuse me, family, the work that I've done on myself and the people that I work with, that's what I'm focusing on. It's like the suffering, the trauma. And whenever I'm sitting down with someone, it's like you just instantly want to try to fix that thing for them. But it's work they got to do for themselves.
Right, you gotta guide them.
Yeah. Because what's going to happen, you might just be sitting somewhere, and it was said, you might just be sitting somewhere, and all of a sudden something popped up when you was 5 or 6 years old. And all of a sudden now you mad. Just for the day, I'm saying in the here now, you know. And I found out too, looking up the word depression, a lot of people stay depressed in the here and now is because they keep living in the past. They don't really know how to let it go. Now things will pop up.
I agree with you. I agree with you there, because I can see it with my own eyes with the comments that I have put, you know, and it does. It stems from when you're a child all the way up until you're an adult, and you can't let it go.
Do you think, like, not like talking about like how your parents played a role in getting your CPTSD or your PTSD is like a major hang up, and that's why a lot of people can't move past it, because they still try to justify it Or like some men, they be like, you know, like, oh yeah, I did this with Miss Johnson when I was like 11, or a babysitter, and they don't realize how bad it is. They think it's a notch on their belt.
And see, that's how a
That's
man,
trauma.
yeah, that's how a man would look at it, as a notch in his belt. But then when reality kick in, this person took advantage of me. This person did something to me that I really didn't understand what was going on. Because come on, at 10, 11, 12, I don't know now, 13, 14, 15. But to be sitting back at a very, very early young age, having smacks, they don't even understand what's happening.
Yeah, and their parents call them fast.
Right. You don't understand what, why, where, what, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying that, y'all can close your ears, I don't mind. I discovered myself at 14. That was the best feeling I ever had. I said, I ain't telling nobody nothing. That was my ancient Chinese secret. Me don't tell nobody no. But look, I didn't really have, the connection until I was like 16. Because, by this time, things are kicking. But what I'm saying, when you actually in it with somebody that you really choose to be with or want to be with to experience it, that's a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful feeling. But for somebody to turn around and force it on you and take it from you.
Yeah, I did at the age of 19. It was forced.
I'm sorry.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry to hear the Candy.
Yeah. And to me, that's not love. When you love somebody and you do all of that, that's love. Doing it the other way around and being disrespectful with it, I mean, that's not love.
It's about power and control.
Yep.
Yep.
And
that's really a sick mind, though. It really
is. It
because
is.
It's like I didn't mean to cut you off, Pat.
Come on.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, power and control of what, though? You know what I mean?
The other person. It's like, it's not about the actual smacks. It's about the control of actually doing it and then taking it away.
But my whole thing is that when they don't understand that when they're smaller. Though.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they're two children doing things, they're just doing it because. And I was listening to this on the news or something on a podcast talking about discovery or something like that. That's one thing, but then. I do understand if it's an adult doing that to a child, then it's not discovery. But things we did in the, as children, power and control, and that doesn't really kind of fit.
It doesn't have to. I mean, it's more like animal instincts, and they call that child sex abuse. Like playing like house or whatever.
Right.
After,
right.
It's because likely somebody did that to the child.
Right.
As well.
Remember what I said, Hugh? When I went to that therapist, because around about 5 or 6, we was playing house. I was sitting there listening to you. I was thinking about the park. Our Drew Hill Park, right over on top of the hill. God darn, I'm having flashbacks. But we would go out there. Well, look, it was fun to me, but later, Hugh and family, I realized, I said, something ain't right here. So anyway, to go back to what he was saying, when I went to the therapist and I was telling her about when I was drinking and I would wake up in the middle of the night gagging, run into the bathroom about the 18-month-old baby thing, and then playing the house, right? She told me, I love what you said, Hugh. She said it was called sexual curiosity.
Yes.
And then she turned around and told me this. She said the mind played tricks on you, right? And I said this. you can say what the hell you want. I didn't tell her that, but I'm in my mind. I said, you can say what the hell you want. Something happened to me. Because I know I didn't do that to no child. And as far as I know, from the age on up to about 5 or 6, it wasn't done to me. But for some reason, it's like I was practicing these behaviors. And I'm like, something ain't right. So I accept the fact because of some of the stuff that I was practicing as a child. I accept the fact that yes, there's a good chance that I could have been great. You know, I don't know who other than I kind of focus on my father. He might not have nothing to do with nothing, but for some reason it's like this come together. And I don't know. But I'm looking at between 5 and 6. If something had happened, I don't remember who might have done that part. But then, like I said, the 18-month-old baby just gagging, and the baby was me, and I accepted the fact that there's a good chance, Steve. So, that's why now for me, when I sit down and I listen real closely to people, I love when they can be honest and go deep and tell you about certain things that they've been running from all their life, you know, and smugging and doing this and doing that, smexing to sedate the feelings and stuff. You know, I had one female, I'm sorry, one queen in my housing program, right? About 27. And she was hurt. Her boyfriend left and all this type of stuff. So she came in my office one day. She had went, she started drinking and went and just started having smecks, right? And I knew she was hurt. So I took her for a walk. I took her for a walk because number one, I didn't want her to beat herself up for what she did. Then on top of that, I wanted her to get out of her head. And I had to explain to her, most of all, say some encouraging words for her to feel more comfortable about herself again, and to help her understand that whenever you're going through that, you don't have to go and like use your body to sedate those feelings. I did that too, you know, wife in one area, house in another area. Then it got to the point I had 5 females outside the house. Excuse me for that word if y'all don't like it. I had 5 of them out the house. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I was hurting so bad inside. I prayed for 10, Miss Hunter. I prayed for 10 women. And I got to about 8. I ain't prayed to God for them. I prayed to the devil. Because I know God wasn't gonna do it. So I prayed to the devil. I wanted 10. I got to about 8. And I'm running around with this one, that one, this one, that one, different personalities. And I lost myself. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was about to lose my mind. I was like this, you know, trying to be here and there. And God moved them right out my life. I called one. I said, hey, can I come and get you? She was like, no bite. Can I come and get you? No bite. Can I come and get? And I was left with that little boy. Hugh, yo. I was like, ew, I'm grown though. But look, it was the little boy that was hurting inside. And he went running. So because of that, I had to go back. I had to deal with that mess by myself. I'm like, oh my God, now I gotta look at me. I was hurting. And I had to actually go back inside once again, because that's like any addiction within itself. You gotta admit the control that it has over your life and how unmanageable your life has become, right? As a result of whatever you caught up with, I had to practice the same steps and principles that I did with letting go of the smugs and all of that. Anytime I find myself caught up in a certain area where I might lose control over my life and stuff, I have to get to that point. I gotta realize it now. I gotta say for myself that it's running control. It's me, but I done lost control over my life, right? And then I gotta start that process of surrender. So numbers that I had in my phone, I had to get rid of them because I don't remember nothing by brain. Y'all know me. I jack a name up quick. So I'll get rid of your number. You ain't got to worry about me calling you. Then I had to stop riding around in the areas that I would go get them, right? I had to start doing the opposite. So to break that. But still I had to look at that little boy because the little boy was hurt. I'm talking about the grown man. But the little boy was hurting. And I had to deal with that little boy. I had to grab hold of that little boy and gain control back over him and tell him I love him. I got your back. I'm about to cry, but I have to tell myself stuff like that, right? That's why I say when it comes to helping people, my heart is just so involved in it, man, because I know the work that it takes for us to be all right with us a day at a time. That's why I talk about what I talk about. And I can only say by the grace of God. And I sent something over the day because of me having 33 years clean. And I remember yelling out. And it was on a Monday too. It was on a Monday, 1993. I yelled out and said, God, please help me. And I was thinking about that, right? By his grace and mercy, family. And it's like he came upon me and took that desire from me. And my sponsor told me, he said, Steve, there's something about you, right? He said, do some work on yourself, man, because there's a lot of people going to need you. I never forget when he said that 30 or 33 years ago. And that's why I started doing the step work and everything, because I had to go inside and get to know Steve, get to deal with those traumas that I was running away from, whatever they may be. And that's how I deal with people today. And I had to, Candy, I had to put people in front of me this time. Like Tashawn, she's over here. I think she stepped away. But Tashawn, Phyllis, Wanda, and this is some more. I prayed for a team this time because my goal was not to get too close to people because I know me.
Yeah.
I know me. So I needed that safety net. So I won't let my feelings and emotions get too involved because it's like you want the best for people and you know the work that it takes for people to get there. It's not something that's going to change overnight. And I'm just grateful. I'm just so grateful where if certain things pop up today, it is what it is and I can laugh at it. You get me? Because once I was able to, let me say, let go, I had to let go. I had to let go of the anger. I had to let go of the resentment. I had to let go of the fear. I had to learn how to love. I had to learn how to have confidence again because I was dealing with insecurities. I was reading all about that, y'all. Low self-esteem. I was reading all of that over there. And I thank God for the work that I was able to do on myself because right now, sometimes when that bull junk come up, I'm like, yeah, but you ain't gonna get me now, sucker. I see you for who you is, and it's okay because I understand that's my past. And it's not to bring it into the new relationship because I know you're not the problem. You're not the problem. I'm not the problem, but you're not the problem. Whatever happened before that, my thing is right now, be honest, I don't even want to go through the point of us. I know we're going to argue. Let me put it like that. I know we're going to have our difficulties. I know we're going to have to change, go through certain things. But can we make it like every few months? Not like once a month, maybe once every other month. Come on, let's argue today. Okay, let's argue. You make me sick. Yeah, you make me sick. But look, that everyday thing all day long, heck to, I'm going to say hell no. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that you don't have to, don't be so quick, right? And this is where I'm at with that family. Because I haven't been in a relationship now for like 7 years. I'm getting tired. I want some max. I want to hold hands. I want to find another tree and carve our initials in it and all that good stuff. I want to go to Ellicott City, Columbia, Maryland, all them good spots to eat and walk through the parks. I said that because Candy know where they at. Candy familiar with them romantic spots
Is there
like that.
anybody in your church?
Yeah.
Yeah, then go ahead.
No.
Why not?
He said, yeah, no.
I don't. You know what?
It's like Christian Migos.
Nine times out of 10, she already there. It's just I don't want to sleep with Sister Barbara, and it don't work out. Go look, and it don't work out, and then I sleep with Sister Deborah, and I be sitting there in the church talking about praise the Lord. Next thing I know, I be like, is they talking about me?
Right.
Because I'm gonna tell you, if I wasn't healed, ooh, Hugh, I'm telling you, I be hooking it up. I be wearing them hooker outfits. Hey, girl.
Right.
I do.
Dora hat on too. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. They look. Some of the guys at the church, right? They know Steve Way, and a lot of them had their own little style and fashion too. But I might be like, boy, I like that little hookup, man. I like that hookup. They be like, nah, they ain't nothing like that. But I already know, because I already know me, my character, as a person, and I know it would not, be honest with you. If I wanted to, it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be a problem sleeping around with the women in my housing program. But I don't know. No,
not that one. No.
Right. No. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I truly thank God for all the years that I've been dealing with women and with children. I've not stepped across that line. And I know so many people that do what I do and have recovery programs and all of that. They struggle with that. But no. I thank God. I thank God. Even when it come to business, I try not to get business and pleasure mixed up. So, and I'll straighten that too when I meet somebody and we in the business and they start throwing, well, we talking about business and they start throwing in the windows. I be telling them, I'm like,
Tell them you're tossing that out the window. Right, because it's in the window, right.
In the window, out the window.
Right.
Now I'll bust the window putting it out. But look, that I just went through that with somebody else. I just went through that. Tashawn sent me something just now on my restream talking about guess who asked her to come and help them like with the mental counseling stuff.
Is it the lady with the warlocks?
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
It's the lady that I went to use for my mental health program. She's supposed to be a mental health care provider, but she asked me for people. I mean, not people. For PRPs and therapists and psychiatrists and all that. She's supposed to have all that. If I'm hiring your business, you're supposed to have all that for the clients. I had to hire somebody else to do it.
Wow.
So, Tashawn, if you still right there, you didn't respond. I responded to you. I put the name there. You ain't say yep. But I already knew who it was. Gonna call you and ask you, cause she want our information, Tashawn. Tell her you can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah, cause she came hard for me. I was like, yeah.
Oh boy. Are you talking about what's her face? Flowers?
Not her.
Oh my lord, there's a lot of them.
Now I had a crush on Flowers a long time ago.
I can't believe she's gonna have a baby at her age.
Wow.
Unless that's not true.
I don't think it's true.
Is she like 60?